Hello, and today I'm going to show you how to improve upon, this game. And to do that, we're going to start work on the inventory system. Now, this is going to be a much more difficult tutorial than the previous ones have been. Let's get started. So, to start off, we're just going to create a new sprite, just paint it. We're going to take, this fill. Actually, I'm just going to be back in a second and get a specific costume. So, now I've done that, I'm going to personally set my size to 150. Now, you can just draw this, and I'll make sure that you can follow instructions to make it, but you won't be able to copy the scripts identically in order to do this. You have to do some adjustments on your own in order to get it to work properly. Okay, now we're just going to go to this. We're just going to duplicate sprite 1 and delete all of the scripts inside. So just control click and then delete all of them. So to do this, now what we're going to do is just make sure that when we receive generation finished, it's going to go to x0 y minus 163 and make sure it goes to the front. Drag that over to sprite 8, so just drag it and drop it, and you can see that sprite 8 will do this kind of just shake a bit. Then you can see now we've got that in this sprite as well. Make sure you hide sprite 8 when you begin the game, and then show it when if generation finishes. Do the same one again for that. So as you can see, just hide it and show it. And now we should see that there's an inventory bar that appears when we generate our world. As you can see, that has worked. Let's set the size to 75. Let's make sure that this is kind of lined up correctly, and in the center, and I believe that's a bit off, but so I'm going to have to use a few decimal places in the go command. So let's say minus 111 minus 118.5. Nope. Let's say 16. Nope, this is going the wrong way. We'll just have to settle at minus 120. That'll do. So now we're just going to repeat 9 times and create clones and see how much we need to do in order to fully get through the bars. I'm just going to do this by changing it. Let's see what happens if we change it by 10 to begin with. Not enough. What about 24? Still not enough. 36. Too much. 30. Yep, that seems to be almost, at least. Wait. Let's see, is that the same as that? I believe so. Let's just change that to minus 119. Actually, no, 21. Just zoom back out. Oh, I've got myself stuck. I'll be right back. Okay, now that's done. let's make sure that, as you can see, that's now working. I'll set it to turbo mode. As you can see, we've now, I did that badly. Let's just make that -1,119 instead. Now it looks better. We're never going to go right, are we? Oh well. Maybe if we just adjust the size a little. 74. This needs to go to the front. Let's just add a little bit of delay. Good. Now go back to its original position. There. Okay. Now, we're just going to make it so, well, the generation happens instantly. To do this, just make a new block, call it initiate. Let's just say an initiate world. For now, make it run without screen refresh. Basically what this is going to do is make it so everything that we do to generate the world is going to happen in one tick. So just move that over to there, grab the generation finished broadcast, move it up to the top. This might take a bit of time. And then we're going to make sure we call initiate world and then just broadcast finished. Oh, we did this once, didn't we? And it didn't work. All the clones are there, so they should be generating, but let's see. Yeah, okay, that means they're all in that one position. Okay, let's just make sure that we set generate. Let's see what happens if we just remove generation mode. Yeah, okay. We're going to make sure we set this variable to 1. Well, there instead. And set it to 0 beforehand. And let's just add a bit of delay in there. Delay normally fixes a lot of issues. There. So now we're going to just make it so this inventory actually does stuff. To do this, basically what we're going to do is make a list. So this list is going to store all of the, well, in block costume numbers that are in here, or in the list, and it's going to basically change the costume of a variable, which will be a number that we set, and basically that means we're going to make it so it's going to save the different things in lists. To do this, just create a new variable called clone ID for this fly only. To begin with, we're just going to set this to 0, and we're going to change it by 1 before we create the clones, which works fine. And now we'll just create, when I start this clone, it's going to switch to, let's just say, costume 2 to begin with. Actually, we're going to just add another costume. We're going to duplicate this and just make it empty. So delete that, and as you can see, we've now got this empty costume, which will be an air block. So we're just going to switch to costume 2 to begin with, and as you can see, that's now just disappearing every time we create a clone. Now we're going to create the list. We're going to call this list, let's say, inventory. We're going to add 2 to inventory, and when we start as a clone, instead of doing what we were doing before, we're going to switch costume to item clone ID of inventory. As we're adding 2 to inventory costume constantly, and clone ID is going up in this, well, every time we add that, make sure you can delete all of inventory beforehand though, of course. As you can see, we're now getting the grass as the costume we've selected. We could also make it so we add clone ID to inventory, which will basically mean it counts. And as you can see, when it's set to 0, it's obviously going to bug a bit as we haven't properly ordered it, but if we just move that there, we now have it so each block is being, well, appearing as part of the inventory. Now just remove that, add 1 to inventory, and as you can see now, we should just have air. Now what we're going to do is just hide these variables we just created, and now you can see that we've got the inventory down there. So now we're just going to make so when we destroy blocks, it's going to, well, appear in the inventory. To do this, we're just going to create a new custom block. We're going to call it add to inventory. And we're going to just add a new input, which will basically allow us to put custom inputs into the blocks. Just call this, let's say, block or costume. And then we're going to just say maybe amount would do. Let's get rid of that and just put amount. Okay, now I've done that, just make sure that you set it to run without screen refresh. Now we're just going to put this here, and we're going to, well, the costume of course will be costume number, and the amount will just be 1. So now we're just going to repeat the length of the inventory. Actually, no, let's just do repeat until, which will allow us to properly check better. Yeah, okay. So now we're just going to repeat length of inventory, but repeat until there's a new variable called help counting, which will basically just help us count stuff. For this one only, of course. Set it to, let's say, well, 0 to begin with. Repeat and help till help counting is more than the length of the world. Well, inventory, sorry. Now we're just going to also check whether the current item of, well, help counting of inventory is, well, equal to the costume we're trying to look for. And now you should see that it will only count up to the, well, the costume that we're looking for. So if we set it costume to 1 and amount 1, as you can see, it's only going to go 1 time. If we set it to 2 and amount 2, it's going to go 10 times because, well, we're checking for the current item of inventory. which is obviously not going to, well, when basically what it's doing is checking whether there's 2 of which there isn't in our inventory. Now we're just going to replace item, let's say. Now we're also going to check whether it's 1. So that would signify an air block, which we can obviously replace. Just put that there. And now you should see that it's only going to be 1 whatever we put there. So now we're just going to replace item inventory, or help counting of an inventory, with costume after we do that. Okay, what have we done strangely here? Okay. Oh yeah, make sure that's a forever. You put a forever block in there so it's constantly updating. As you can see now, it's glitching. That's because we need to make sure we subtract 1 as well. Actually, let's just create a air block in here. Just delete it for now. And now we, well, should see that it works. As you can see, we're picking up items that we don't already have. Now we're just going to create a new list. Let's call this item amount. Let's say inventory amount for now. That'll do. Delete all of inventory item amount. And let's add 0 to this list every time before we create one of these clones. Yeah, we seem to be glitching it. Are we checking the costume number here? Oh, yeah, just get rid of that for now. It's causing glitches. And just add 1 to the costume number. That's working. And now we're also going to replace item amount with, item amount plus 1. Well, actually, amount. And now we should see that the amount will go up every time. Excuse the glitches. I have no clue what was causing it that time. It should be generating now. As you can see, the inventory amount is going up. Now we're just going to make it so we're checking whether item amount is less than 64. If not, then it's going to just move on to the next one. Of that layer. Delete that, and that, and that. Okay. Now we should see that that's working. So if you've got 64 of the sand, which there probably aren't, okay, let's just get rid of every sand block and see whether it's going to... Okay, that's a bit strange. Is it detecting collisions? Yeah, maybe it was a bit dodgy there, but oh well, it's okay for now. And as you can see now, we've just got another sand block appearing. That's because we just passed 64. And congratulations, you have now completed the basic fundamentals of tile scrolling. But we will continue onwards with this game and make it so that you can place blocks from what that was in the inventory. So now we're just going to, instead of we're going to make block type always be set to what, well, the chosen block is. So it's now we're just going to add a forever block here, and we're going to create a new variable called, let's say, invent current for, well, current item chosen or something. Now we're just going to add a, well, we're just going to check whether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 is pressed. And we're going to set that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of course, depending on whether, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 is pressed. Okay, so now we've done that, we're just going to add, we're going to check whether item amount is less than 0. So let's just put that there, clone ID of item amount is less than 0. Let's say 1 instead. It's going to replace item inventory, item, well, clone ID of inventory with, well, 1. And it's also going to just replace item amount of inventory with 0 to make sure that if we go under, it won't cause permanent damage. Okay, more glitches. As you can see, that's now going to, well, work, but we won't be able to tell whether it's working until, well, let's just, if, let's say, invent current item is equal to clone ID, we're just going to set the size to 100. But if it isn't, we're just going to set it back to 75 or 70. As you can see, it's now selecting it. Now we're just going to make it so when something is selected, it's going to place a block with it. So we're also going to make sure that we set block type to, item inventory of world. And let's just subtract 1 from that. Actually add 1. No, subtract 1. Now we're just going to make it so when we place a block, it's going to, well, replace item clone ID. well, it's going to replace item inventory amount of that, in the current item with that -1, of course. I think we have something similar over here. I'm just going to go and drag that over and drop that in there. So that's what you'll need. Okay, it's glitching again. We probably should have made a bit of a better player, but that will be saved for another day. The only way we can combat that really is with a tile scrolling system, something of the level of difficulty of it. Okay, that's incorrectly doing stuff. Okay, yeah. Yeah, just gonna stop these hostile mobs from spawning so I can not die and glitch. Now what? Now obviously, now you can see that that still isn't working. Okay, maybe it just is that. No, it isn't. Okay, let's just -1 again, see what happens. Oh, I know what's happening. Make sure that you're making sure that it is not 1, well, 0. And now hopefully it should. Come on, why are you doing this to me? Okay, oh dear, we were not selected again. So, that one that's there, that one that's there, which means you should have to, well, to get the same block type, you'd have to subtract 1, I think. But that's just causing everything to turn into. This is annoying. What is causing it to constantly set block type to 15? That clearly was block type 1. Okay, block type is 2, so it should, in theory, place the dirt block, but no, it's just placing that. But 0 is that, and that might be what Maybe if we just add a bit of delay there again. Okay. That's making more sense. It's not making sense why that. It's not ignoring that slot though. Let's just see what's going on with that one. It's 15. Okay. That's good. Okay, now let's just restore the hostile mob spawning and maybe just increase the spawn times a bit to save me from insanity. Okay, and now let's have a look at what is going on with the grass situation. So it's costume 16. Okay, what is it trying to... Okay, it is 14 that's trying to go to. So now I'll just change that to 14 and hopefully it's going to restore the... Yeah, good. Okay. That will conclude this video. If you want to go to the tile scrolling Minecraft series, feel free. It's not much harder than this now. Apart from the fact that we seem to be... Oh, we've been on for this for too long. If there's more bugs to fix, we'll do a next tutorial. Bye.